Be blue-haired girl. Have a crush on a guy who you think will ultimately be yours in the long run. Become complacent and entitled to him because your long-standing closeness encourages you to do so. Bail on every opportunity you have to lock him down by making jokes because you're scared to actually confront him about your feelings. Then, set him up with a girl he has had a crush on since he was a kid who also happens to like him back. Get jealous. Then crash out harder than an IRL streamer whose life choices have finally caught up with them when your own cowardice breeds a kink in your relationship that causes him to consciously avoid developing feelings for you and somehow make it the guy's fault for not being able to tell that you like him when the only vibe you've ever given him is that he's your safety pick.
Women.
Love triangles. Am I right? If there's one trope that annoys me, that isn't a protagonist with no backbone, it's this one. And it just so happens that this is the backbone, pun intended, of one of this season's new romance series titled Can a Boy-Girl Friendship Survive? If you're terribly unfamiliar with this show, the premise is that Yu Natsume is a high schooler with a talent for making accessories. He and his best friend Himari Inuzuka form a dynamic duo of producer and marketeer who make this whole business run. That is, up until Yu encounters a new girl named Rin Enomoto, who happens to be his first love, and everything I was hoping this show would be starts to disintegrate right about there. So, can a boy-girl friendship survive? Turns out, the answer is, according to episode 3, no! And resoundingly so.
Well, that was anticlimactic.
Now, what is there to like about this show? Well, the first episode was really good in my humble opinion. It gave us the chaos gremlin blue girl who was bright and happy and always up to no good. Himari was the comedic relief of the story where Yu and his first love Rin were much more the straight men of the trio. The way the three of them tended to bounce off each other and some of the other side characters who appear somewhat regularly in the cast was a fun dynamic that I had hoped would be the core of this series as Yu and Himari got closer and closer over the series. And while Yu was shy and reserved, he wasn't totally worthless. He was effectively running his own business in a high school scenario, and had a very specialized set of talents that allowed him to do so. He actually was good at something, and he wasn't just a complete pushover, he was just a little bit shyer than your normal person. So much better than your generic, nice but shy romance protag-kun. Unfortunately, the writing was on the wall for this show, and I kinda called it out on a live stream. The looming love triangle drama was about to come crashing down on top of this whole thing. And this is where there's kind of a huge divide in the, I don't know if you want to call it fandom of this show. The point of frustration for everyone comes after this first episode, which was pretty good, because while Himari spends the bulk of episode 1 and like the first 2/3 of episode 2 fucking around, she very quickly finds out by the end of episode 3 that she's not as entitled to Yu's attention and love as she thought. You can very clearly tell by this point that the plot of this show revolves around the idea that both Yu and Himari are cowards. They're both spineless in the romantic department, and too afraid to take the next step and commit to something between them that's more than just friendship. And because of that, this show's first 3 episodes basically become the epitome of, are these two in love? Worse. They're fucking stupid. And that really ends up kind of spoiling my hopes for this series, especially after the first episode really impressed me. Because what it's become by episode 3 is Rin trying to get with Yu because she has a crush on him. Yu being caught between his first love, Rin, and the feelings he's effectively suppressing for Himari. And Himari being way too much of a coward to commit to her feelings for Yu, and then blaming him for it for not noticing.
You have done that yourself!
Now, I love Himari. She's bright and cheerful and mischievous. She's the kind of girl I find attractive in these sort of fictional settings because she's the opposite of me in most cases. And I know this won't be popular with people given the reaction I've seen online, but I do kind of hope she wins in the end. However, the sparse comments I've gotten from readers of the original series seem to say that that prospect doesn't look good. And now I can understand why many would actually despise Himari in all of this. this. Like, I genuinely do. I get why you don't like her, and I will not try to justify my preferences to you. I think that much is rightly deserved, because her PETA factor is through the roof.
You've got some issues, lady.
She ultimately has nobody to blame but herself for the state of her relationship, and she loves to just take it out on you for some reason, like it's his fault for not noticing when she continues to try and friendzone him. But at the same time, I understand why she feels the way she does by the end of episode 3. She's basically been told that the guy she likes only sees her as a friend. He has rejected her and shot her down, even if unintentionally. Followed up shortly after by him trying to replace her as the model for his accessories with another girl. So I get the frustration. I understand why she would absolutely be pissed at him, because he's effectively cutting her out of his life, at least to her perspective of it. But girl, this is all your fault. This was your doing. You were the one who pushed you and Reen together. You were the one who consistently bailed on your chance to snag him because you figured he was yours already. You put all the impetus on him, but outwardly gave the appearance of it being a means to tease him because you were too cowardly to just commit already. You made you think that friends was all the two of you would ever be. And then you don't want to take accountability for your actions.
Women.
And that's the part that really frustrates me about this show. Like, I like the character Himari. There's a lot more to her in my eyes than Reen so far, and she presents a much more fascinating emotional experience throughout the whole thing. But because Reen isn't an overly complicated POS emotional time bomb, more people are prone to liking her. I actually get it, okay? See? I understand. Reen is an idealized person, and her innocence makes people like her. It just frustrates me that they had something really fun in the dynamic between you and Himari that really made me like the first episode. Yet that only lasted about that long, as the impending drama of the love triangle quickly soured everything I liked about this show.
Just thinking about it makes me go feral!
I think there was a solid opportunity in these first 3 episodes to do something a little bit lighthearted and fun with it all, even in spite of the dramatic title and theme. You still could have had something entertaining and not drama-laden and done the BS love triangle stuff that I oh so hate. But both characters turned out to be cowards in the romantic sense, with Himari effectively refusing to fully commit to you because she's too much of a coward to actually pursue him, and with you acknowledging that he could easily fall in love with her but refuses to because he thinks all she wants to be is friends. And thus I find myself in a toxic relationship with this one. I'm a fan of this blue-haired girl, but I don't expect things to go well for her, and it's all her own fault. And an extreme crash out over all this does no favor in winning people over both within and outside the story.